I don't remember much about my mammy, just crossing the ferry and coming back from work, and you know, when she worked at the hospital, Erskine Hospital, it's in Bishopton. She cleaned over there, her and my Auntie Nellie. And my Auntie Hannah worked there too. That was my mammy's sister. Two sisters. Called them the Five Sorrowful Mysteries. The Five Sisters. My mum, my Auntie Hannah, my Auntie Nellie, my Auntie Katie, and my Auntie Peggy. Oh, they were born, I think it was called Airdrie. Or, that's where they were all born. And then their parents died very young. And they were all sent away to, you know, so they figured they could stay at Erskine Hospital. So the three of them went to Erskine Hospital, and the other two stayed where they were. Auntie Katie and Auntie Peggy lived in Lanark, away out in Airdrie or whatever. And my mammy and my Auntie Hannah and my Auntie Nellie lived in Oaklepatrick. 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Uncle Bert, Uncle John, Uncle Edward. She had 3 brothers. Uncle Tommy's wife, her name was Mary, and she was always called Mamie. And I think that's how I got Mamie. I don't know. But I was Mary after my mother, Mary and Edward.
An Irishman. He was born in the Glens of Antrim in Ireland. Glenara, he was born. But no, he was a good man. He used to take me to work with him all the time. He was a collector for the Provident Agency. A pay weekly thing that he collected for. And that's what he did. He collected that, and he used to take me to work with him all the time. He used to show me off these customers. Yeah. I learned nearly everything from both of them. Yeah. The name was Irvin. Irvine on my mother's side. On my father's side, they were O'Boyle.
I went to St Mary's in Toker, yeah. And then I went to OHR. And I was went to OHR for 1 year, and then I got exempt from school to stay home and watch my brothers while my mammy went out and worked. Yeah, she worked. I hated that. I hated her to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry.
Oh, sorry, Nana.
When my dad died, I was 9, and I left my mammy. She fainted into a hedge, and left her at the hedge, and I ran on the road. And I don't even remember anything. I don't remember anything. I remember my mammy falling into the hedge. Yeah. He ran onto the road to stop the bus, you know, for another man. He wasn't going anywhere. He says to my mum, I remember we were coming, I think we were coming from confession, but I don't remember that. But I think we were coming from confession, and my dad shouted to my mum, Mary, wait up, you know, and my mammy just waited for him, and he crossed the road and he was killed. So on the gravestone, we've got the date that he died, and he died the day I was married, on the 20th of June. I was married on the 20th of June, and I remember my mammy saying to me, this is your daddy's anniversary. Mammy never talked about my daddy, never talked about him.
She was heartbroken.
Yeah. Women weren't allowed to go to funerals either then. The women didn't go to funerals. Well, apparently she just sat at the fire, poking the fire. That's what my Auntie Hannah said. My Auntie Hannah said, that's all she did was sit at the fire, and she kept saying to her, you have to get out, you have to get out and do something, but she just sat there poking the fire. I don't think my daddy was only 39 when he died. I just remember being, the four of us were sent away when my daddy died. We were sent away to this woman. I don't even know, Beatrice, I remember her name. She was never married, and then she had us 4 kids. It was an airdrie, but then I was the oldest. I was in charge of all the wee ones. I had to come home and take care of the boys. That's when I dropped Edward in the fire. Well, I covered him in Vaseline all over him. I mean, he fell in the fire, but I was holding him, fell in the fire, and I covered him. I put him on the table and covered him with Vaseline. There wasn't a mark on him. There was a fire in our house one time, and my mammy wakened up because she thought she'd seen my daddy standing at the bottom of the bed, and she wakened up, and that was when the fire was put out then, and yeah, isn't that weird? Crazy. But I don't know where he was when Edward fell in the fire. I mean, that was the doctor.
Maybe St. Mary's in Lanark. St. Mary's was it was strange because we used to get booed everywhere we went because playing with St. Mary's, we wore blue and white jerseys for a lady, a lady's colour, blue and white jersey, and that's what all the Rangers players wore was blue and white. So everywhere we went, we get booed. We played in a lady's colour because of the Rangers colour. No, I left winger, yeah, I scored goals. But mostly I crossed the ball over for somebody else to not end.
I mean, religion was terrible over there, as you can imagine. And anybody that said F the Pope was in for was in for a fight with me. And I used to go into the cloakroom and punch them. Anybody that said F the Pope got it from me. But it hurt me terrible to say that, and so I went after them. I was a bugger. The Protestants and the Catholics were terrible over there. It was terrible. Now you don't know who's who, but then it was really terrible. And I was in more fights. God, I was in more fights than anybody I knew. We had Singer's sewing machine factory, which was making bombs, and we had the John Brown's shipyard, and this is what they were after. Sirens went. The sirens, we had sirens going, and then that was for everybody to get and get covered. The bombings. Well, we were in the shelter for 2 days. 2 days and 2 nights we were in the shelter, and I remember our Bernard crying because there was a steak pie in the oven. He couldn't get to the steak. The house was flattened. Daddy he was dead by then. And I often think of my mammy. What she did, she had to carry Edward, because he was just a baby. He was just born when my daddy died. And I remember being in the shelter and these bombs coming down, and I remember her saying, "This is for us." It was whistling bombs, and barrage balloons. Barrage balloons were all up in the air, and I remember we had to go to school. We were gas mask, yeah. I think there was a shipyard, and it was our place, Patrick. They never touched Damure, I don't think. Oh, they did, because there was a family of, I think 14 get killed. A whole family of 14 get killed in Damure. That was an underground shelter. It was underground, and I think that's what saved us. You know, because we could see all the shells all around us and bodies, and it was terrible. Yeah, this one's for us. Oh, there was whistling bombs. They whistled as they came down to you. And I mean, you stepped over bodies, you stepped over landmines, and you stepped over, to get up to the boulevard. And we were sent away. The next day we went up the boulevard, and I remember Edward's pram going down the boulevard, and with nothing in it, nothing in it. Because the man couldn't take it was a truck, and the man said he couldn't take the pram. And my mammy used to keep it was a clothes basket, and all her papers and all that stuff was all in it, And that's where he took us, to Glasgow. And then there was men there to tell us where to go, go on this train, or go on that train, or go on that bus. So we lost everything, yeah. And it was terrible. I don't know how my mammy did it. I don't know how she did it.
Seen one street down here. That's where Hitler bombed it out. I've seen one street. It was a tenement building. There was a ground floor. There was a single end. And all of it in one room. 2 beds. 2 instep beds. And that was all it had. 7 of it was raised there. Yeah, there was 5 of it in one bedroom, I think. I remember worrying about Gerald. I don't know why now. Gerald was Gerald and Jean were twins. But Gerald was an hour younger than Jean. And I can remember in the shelter keeping asking where Gerald was. I kept asking where was Gerald. Well, first we saw this old lady's lobby. There was three apartments in each flat, and there was 5 flats in a tenement building. And we started off in the flat next door to us. They had the long corridor. We started there. And I forget one, the window blew in on us. The bomb come off the floor somewhere. And the window blew in on us. And we headed out into the air raid shelter. Which was a mess too, because they'd been lying there. I don't remember. Clydebank, where there was the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth were built. That's where all the big ships were built. Yeah. It was a very industrial town. Oh, when Hitler bombed us, yeah, that was the worst thing ever happened to me. Because I would probably be chief executive of some big company by now. I gave up after that because I'd finished. I'd finished the Barton High School and I'd done very well at it. And when we got bombed out, Mommy took us to Lanark and she wanted me to go to a ladies' high school in Lanark, and I refused to go to another school. I stayed in Lanark. I just finished 8th grade, and I should have finished my education because I was a very good student. I was. But I lost all that. Hitler took all that from me.
The funny thing was that these were all kids. They were all Germans. They were all young people, because James and I always went to pick potatoes out the ground, across the ferry. That's where all the farms were. And we used to, and the Germans used to come, and they had guns on them all the time, Or our crowd had, the Scottish people had guns on them. The prison people, and these guys were not in prison, but they come out to pick the potatoes. And one of them says to me, I don't know why, but he says to me, "Can I have a button of your coat?" And I says, "What do you want a button for?" He says, "I just want something to remember you." And he said, he was only a young boy, and he said, when the potatoes were finished picking, this happened. He was a prisoner of war, and I says, if I went home with a button off my coat, my mummy would kill me. Because it was so hard to find a coat, so I had to go to we all went to I don't know if you would call it, what you would call it here, but we all went to this place where they gave out clothes. I gave him the button, yeah. I gave him the button. But I remember the people who took us in the government paid for this, was Sarah and Barney Slavin. They had no kids, and Sarah used to come in and nearly drown us with holy water every night.
Oh, when I was a truck driver, the best job I ever had. And I made me a truck driver the Second World War. I was proficient in truck-driven vehicles, being brought up around farm workers. I used to go out and repair farm implements, track implements and all, stuff like that. So that's why they made me a truck driver, because of my familiarity with track vehicles, and that's why.
I was in Scotland when the war ended, yeah. Oh, there was parades everywhere, and there was dancing in the street, and I was a dancer when I was young. And there was 3 of us, I think, dancing in the street. But there was a big crowds all around us, and bagpipes and all this stuff. Yeah, I had my own kilt, and calling all cars, calling all nations. Hitler's lost his combination. Yeah, Hitler was a cruel man. So he was. So that was the war.
That's where I met Poppop and Singers. Yeah, he worked downstairs, and his window looked right up to our bathroom. and I smoked then. Dumb thing. And when we used to shout, "Bye, Jackie," when he was leaving, Jack just stayed up the road from Singers's, and that's how I met him. And then one time they were all, somebody was going to Canada that worked with him, and I don't know why they always come down to Oakpatrick, because there's as many bars in Clydebankers that there is in Oakpatrick. But he come down, and my Auntie Nellie and my mammy were someplace, I don't know where they were, they might have been down to see my granny, and they had to pass by that bar, and she seen Pat Campbell and Jack standing outside with two women with tartan coats. So the two of them went over and took them. She says, "Come up and I'll make you a cup of tea." Poured the beer down the sink. Oh, they used to come down for tea and toast a lot. They would come down to Oakpatrick, and then they would all end up in our house. All of them. My mammy would be making tea and toast. And I remember one time he came to our house and he brought me a bottle of something number 5, something number something. Perfume. And when they asked me out, I went to the movies and he says, "I'll be right." He went into the bathroom and I was so embarrassed. And he says, "Stay here, I'll be right out." And I thought, "I'm not waiting for somebody to come into the bathroom, I'm not standing here." And I walked home. I did. Well, he went into the bathroom, and then in those days you didn't do that. You just, you know. They went left for America, him and Pat Campbell. And Kathy McQueenie, who was my best friend, Kathy and I went up to the train station, and there was a piper there, piping them away. And there was always pals and all these girls, and for the institute and all that, and Kathy and I just stood at the back. And I said, "Well, bye, and I'll see you again."
Why did I come to America? I was working in this factory in Scotland. I was for America because they were the owners of the company. I took their number as I call them. I guess I decided to have an adventure. Uncle Pat and I came here together. We belonged to the CYMS in Scotland. That was the Catholic Young Men's Society. How long was the journey? It was just a journey across the water. It took a lot of days. Well, we had people meeting us there in New York, people from Clydebank who had sponsored us over there.
I don't know how many days it took for us to get over, but it must have took a long time because the boat had ropes all over it, and if you walked anywhere you had to hold on to the rope. And I was in bed the whole time. I was in bed. I was so sick. Oh my God. And when we got on the boat at first in England, we got on the boat and we looked around and it was beautiful. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, And then to think everybody was in bed for that whole time.
They paid my fare over, and then I had to pay it back to them with the money that I made babysitting or whatever you call it. I paid them back, but I cleaned too. Well, I have to clean. There's 2 girls. Oh yeah, I loved the kids. I really did. It was just in the spur of the moment we decided, the 3 of us decided to run away. Because we couldn't get out. We were stuck in there and you know, you get out on was it a Thursday and a Sunday morning to go to Mass. And that was it. Francis McPherson and Winnie was Irish and Francis was English and I was Scotch.
Went to it was our day off and the 3 of us went to, I put my case out under the trees and the 3 of us went to this train station and got our tickets and put our luggage in one of the compartments and took off the next day. I wasn't afraid of anything then. You know, I was young,
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything. I didn't even think, you know, what could have happened.
Right.
We got the train and my Uncle Edward and Aunt Ray, they looked for an apartment for them and they found something, but they went away to Francis and Winnie went to Wisconsin. Is that where you get cheese? And I never heard from them again.
After New York, we used to spend weekends. We spent weekends in Wilmington going to the Orange Halls. Wilmington, Delaware, yeah. Orangeman's from Ireland. We went there for dancing, dancing with the girls. Most all of them were Catholic girls. If they're not, they were orange at all, you know. But it was the Orange Hall, they called it. No, we made quite a few stories from that. Nana she was met in New York.
Yeah.
By, yeah, a couple of alcoholics, an uncle and an Aunt Ray. And they were both alcoholics.
She says, "You can't stay here. You can't stay here," because she was always drunk. She was drunk, and I used to go out and look for my Uncle Eddie at night. He would be sleeping in some bar, and I used to go into other bars looking for him, bring him home, and then she'd start throwing things at him. You know, they lived in the bottom floor. I thought they lived in this big house. I thought, my God, the 2 of them are here, worked all their life, and they must have this big home. So when I come back from Rhode Island, and I went to his house, I thought, oh my God, that must be a big mansion, you know, with the 2 of them and no kids. Mm-hmm. Lived in an apartment building, the bottom floor. And you could see everybody coming in drunk at night. It was all Irish. It was all Irish.
That was Dominique Kelly. Dominique Kelly asked us for money. Asked Pa and I for a loan of money to come here or something. And we gave him money. And we were supposed to get it in Glasgow before he left, on the train in Glasgow. So we never got it. So he owed us that money. Took us years to find him. And by the time we found him, he was flying his own airplane. Oh, Nana. Oh, she knew where he was.
And then I met up with Dom Kelly and Mary, Dom and Mary Kelly. He owed them money because they paid their fare. Him and Pat Campbell paid his fare. And in fact, that's his picture. That's him and Mary in Uncle Edward's kitchen.
And he never paid them back. So he come down to ask them for their money, him and Pat Campbell, that money. And that's where he met me. That's where he seen me, and he kind of looked, saying on, like, what are you doing here? And then he used to come down quite a bit. And I mean, I thought I'd never see him again. I really did. I was excited. I remember Mary Cairns used to come and live with us now and again. She was a nanny. The two of us sent it in. She was a nanny in Long Island, and I was in New York. No, I was in Rhode Island. She was in Long Island. And, but he, for Valentine's Day, he bought me this big box of chocolates. I says to Mary Cairns, you touch that heart in the middle, your life's at stake. She says, I won't touch it.
Oh my god.
The two of us opened the box of chocolates and got tore in. Except for that heart. Some girl that went to the institute, it was her uncle, I think, that stayed where all the Irish go. He stayed down there, Upper Derby. And he stayed there, him and Pat Campbell, for a long time. And they were grave diggers in that cemetery, Over County. There was hundreds under them, thousands under them. We were married in the Catholic Church. Father Dunn married us.
St. Bernard's. Jack's mammy and my mammy came over for the wedding. So they took him over, but they stayed in New York for a while with my Uncle Eddie. And that was the first time my mum had seen her brother, my Uncle Eddie, since she was young, you know. He was in our wedding, Uncle Eddie. He gave me away. Had an apartment on, let's see, this is what I forget. It's on, near Father Judge. I had two of them there, Mary Frances and Pat. And I remember one day, Pat was outside. Your mammy was in the bed, was in the room, you know, in her crib. She was sleeping, and Pat was sleeping outside. And I was hanging out wash, and I come up the stairs and put Pat's bottle on and the stove, and then I went down to get him, and the door shut behind me. And I couldn't get up, and I couldn't do anything. So I ran down to the real estate office to see if they had. I knocked on the door downstairs to see if they had a key, and they weren't home. So I ran down to the real estate office, and I said to them, "Do you have a key?" So the man took me back. He took me back in the car, and I get into the house, and the bottle had exploded on the stove. Well, we were told to leave that apartment because I was pregnant again, and I had there was too many kids. From there we went to Bernard Street, and we had the downstairs apartment, and the upstairs apartment was a girl from, I don't know where she was from someplace, and she and her husband they had one little boy. Or was it a girl? I don't remember. It was a boy or a girl. But anyway, our kids used to play with him, you know, and Mary Frances and Pat used to play with him. And Then we got the house in Englewood Street through Souter, Bill Souter, before it even went onto the sheet, and he was in real estate. So we had a nice house.
Oh yeah, Christmas morning is a great morning. You wake up. It's been.
God, we used to lock their door. We used to tie the doors together so that they couldn't get out before we did. We used to, we never even thought about fires or anything, never thought about anything, just Christmas Day. And Jack, so that Jack could get the camera fixed and all this stuff, and he wouldn't let Andy come down the stair until he got down and get ready and get his camera on. And all you seen was a great big light. My mammy was a great knitter. She used to knit clothes for them, and like coats and hats and pants to match for the winter time. I remember your mummy and Uncle Pat had the same outfits, only he had the long pants and she had the skin.
He's been. I can just remember saying that he's been.
And that was through Bill Souter too. Bill Souter had a place up the club, and there was John Scullion. He lived in that bungalow, and he was going to Texas for his work, and we bought his bungalow. I don't know what year that was, and but it was 2 bedrooms, no closets, 2 bedrooms, and we slept in the couch because in the living room because of the some of them slept in there and some of them slept in the other room, and I had cribs then, and I had the playpens, and and I remember Frank Cleary taking Edward out the playpen and letting him walk. And I remember Pat broke his leg up the club, and the pool table fell on top of him. And I used to faint all the time. Anytime anybody was bleeding, I used to faint. Oh God. Yeah, and I remember Jackie got a nail up his foot, and we had to go to the hospital with him, and we were always at the hospital. Always at the hospital with the boys. Oh my God. 6 boys. We went to soccer every week. They all played soccer. Your mammy was down here all the time. She was always either at Campbell's or she was at Terry O's.
Something.
Oh God. We used to run through the fog. There's a fog man that used to come in and to kill the mosquitoes. And they used to run, here's a mosquito, here's a frog man, the fog man, and they all ran out. And everybody ran out. The whole gang of them ran out. Yeah, it's poison. Yeah, and they ran out through all. Oh God, the things that happened to us up there.
So that's my life story.
Oh, that's the way it was. That's the way it went. That's the way it is, I think. You know?
can imagine.
Yeah.
Let me get this real quick, okay? Let's see like this. Hiya. Yeah, I'm just interviewing Poppop here. Yeah, that's alright. Oh, yeah, we can do that. Okay. Alright, great. Thanks, bye. That was my mommy.
Huh?
That was my mommy.
Oh, did Nana pick up?
No, I got it. But,
Did Nana not get it? Did she?
no, she's sleeping.
Still sleeping?
Yeah, I think, well, should we go to something that's nicer then?
Whatever.
What? Oh, the hummingbird. Oh, 2 hummingbirds. That's a single left, isn't it?
There might not be. They just went looking for it.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll just fill it up. I don't know what happened to him. I just know he was killed. Is that hummingbird? I just know he was killed. I need to get that filled up.
See, that's
coming.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, I don't know who that.
No idea.
In the cupboard.
And this was World War
Two,
II, right?
World War III, I think. World War
No,
II.
it had to be II, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hitler.
Yeah. World War II. So then, how about, did you have any family traditions with your kids?
We need to have 7. Was it 7?
That's a lot of kids you had.
Yeah.
So, how you doing?
Hi, Jean.
So, the boys, your sons, always joke around and pretend like every Christmas they all got 6 combs and they had to share 6 combs between the 7 of them.
Did you share what?
They had to share 6 combs between the 7 of them.
6 toes.
Combs, like brushes.
Oh, cool.
So are they lying?
6 cool. Maybe. I don't know.